Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Welcome, everybody. Woo-hoo-hoo. It is another incredible, awesome-tacular episode of Two Geeks and a Microphone. And what makes this episode so good? It's because not only do you have your co-host, Mr. Stephen Boster, here with you right now, but also we have the most wonderful, most righteous, most betterer, Mr. Michael Shank. Say hey to everybody, Mike.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land. We are Venom.
Woo-hoo-hoo. All right, there it is. You got the sneak peek. This is what we're talking about today. All right, so Mike and I made sure we got tickets to go see Venom 2 so we could do a review and discussion today.
Oh, I got something to tell you about that, too.
Okay. Yeah, he says something to tell me, too, because we've already had our pre-show discussion.
Oh, we didn't talk about this, though.
No, we didn't. So now I've got me nervous. Well, hey, everybody. We are so glad that you could join us today for our discussion about Venom. And, we've had discussions about Spider-Man, and one of our, Mike, which episode was it? Is like number one all time of our episodes.
Spider-Man does what a spider can episode.
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden it's jumped up to like number one all-time podcast for us, which is just crazy. It's bypassed Mara J, which we didn't think anything was going to bypass
right.
that one.
But apparently, I guess with the upcoming hype of Spider-Man, maybe that's the reason that episode has kind of jumped off the charts. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on with there, but hey,
yeah,
it sounds like people are enjoying it. So. And don't worry, we got more Spider-Man to come. So,
you by golly,
because trust me, No Way Home is going to be awesome.
Right? Yeah, there's still bets out to see was Shang-Chi better than Spider-Man. We don't know yet.
So heck, I think a movie last night might have just taken over that. At least in my eyes, anyway.
Well, speaking of the Spider-Verse, we are going to discuss Venom 2. And that's what we're here today. So here's the deal.
Let There Be Carnage.
This movie yet. Yes. If you have not seen this movie yet, I encourage you to go watch the movie, then come back to the podcast.
Yeah.
We are going to talk spoilers because that is the heart of our conversation today. And so what we'll do is we'll do our review. Mike, we'll sit here and do our review real quick. And just a real quick overview. Should they go see it? Why did we like it? Without trying to do spoilers. And then for those who just want to get a general idea of what our thoughts are about it. And then we'll move into spoiler territory. How does that sound?
Sounds good. I got to tell you about my little mishap first, though.
Yeah, sure. What's up?
So I bought the tickets for Venom on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I forget. Monday, Tuesday evening. I was pretty excited. I'm like, all right, got my tickets and everything.
I know you were pumped about this.
And we were supposed to go to see the show at 7:40 last night.
Okay.
Well, I thought we were supposed to go see the show at 7:40 last night. So we show up about 7 o'clock, I guess it was, to confirm our tickets and everything. And the girl scans my phone, and she goes, "Hey, wait a minute, can I scan that again?" Yeah, sure, here. Give it to her again. She scans it again. She goes, these tickets were for last night. I was like, what?
Oh,
I screwed up. I bought tickets for Thursday night instead of Friday night. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So they were kind enough to go, okay, we just moved the tickets over to Friday. And so we didn't end up.
That was awesome of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which day was that? Was that?
Well, Warenberg no longer exists.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you told me
they
that.
were bought out by Marcus. In fact, last night when the Marcus logo comes up, I looked at Megan and went, Marcusburg. Because it should be Warenberg.
What we've discussed in the past podcast that when we went together to the theater, it was Warenberg Theater.
Right.
And they always had this little jingle. You know how theaters always have those jingles and that thing. And they always had one at the end of the tune, they'd do this Warenberg. So that's where I was making fun of that.
Well, they had their whole Warenberg theaters.
Right.
Yeah, that's all gone. Now it's Marcus has got different music, and it's just not the same. It doesn't have the same feel anymore. I want the old Warenberg back. Okay, it's fine. You bought out Warenberg. You could have kept the name though. Warenberg's been in St. Louis for years. Anyway, that's just my.
Anyway, continuing on though. So they were nice enough to give you tickets over.
Yeah, we had to pick different.
That's awesome.
We had to pick different seats and everything, and we ended up not going till 8:30, so it was a little later, but.
Okay, but at least that was nice of them to let you go see that, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't have been doing a podcast today.
Right, you'd be like, Steven got to wait another week.
Yeah, I didn't see Venom last night.
Right, and I'd be like, what? Well, here's what we did. So Troy got off the bus. So it's just Troy and I this weekend. And his mom is celebrating her birthday this weekend, and she's out of town.
Gotcha.
So as soon as he got off the bus, I said, okay, dude, do you want to go see it? And so I've got the Regal app, and because of all these movies coming out, and I knew we were going to do all these things, I said, well, I'll just do the Regal Unlimited thing, kind of like Netflix. I can go as many times as I want, whenever I want, depending on what's showing. It's not like I get to watch anything or everything.
Marcus is doing a thing right now where you can get Sunday afternoons for $20 or something like that, and you can see up to like 4 movies on Sundays for $20.
That's 8 hours at the theater.
Yeah, well, I don't think I don't know if you go to all 4.
If you get 2 in there, that'd be decent price, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like a half bad deal. My only feature is as long as we don't have anything going on a Sunday, that's the only problem. So. But
sorry, Lord, I can't go to church anymore because I got a good deal on movies.
Yeah, right. And I got to do a podcast.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Venom 2. Overall, no spoilers. Overall, okay, give me your rating. So what out of 5, what would you do?
All right. I am going to go 4.5 symbiotes on this.
That's what Troy did yesterday. We gave our out of 10 yesterday and stuff like that. That's funny. He said symbiotes too.
No, I'm not. I won't give it a 5. I do have a critique of this film.
Okay.
And I have a strong critique of this film. But overall, I freaking loved this movie.
Yeah. So, okay, give me general impressions. Why did you like it?
Well, number one, I'm a huge Venom fan. That's one. 2,
right.
Man, okay. Everyone says Tony Stark, or Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. I am a firm believer that freaking Tom Hardy is Venom. He is Eddie Brock. He is Venom, and he voices Venom too. Oh, I watched a great little documentary just earlier this morning with Andy Serkis, and he was talking about the voice of Venom. We'll have to get into that a little bit.
Okay, yeah,
really good. Look that up on YouTube. It was fun.
Okay,
and I like Andy Serkis, and he's the
director.
Yeah, he's the director. Yeah.
Precious directed it. Yes,
and his company did all the mocap for this.
Snoke. He was Snoke.
Yep.
Wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Snoke.
Go ahead.
So anyway,
it all goes back to Star Wars, everybody.
I really think Tom Hardy has embodied Eddie Brock. I remember, I'll admit I haven't been reading the comics of Venom for several years now, but I started collecting back in the day when it first came out, and it was Todd McFarlane doing it, and I'm telling you, he is perfect. He is perfect.
He's gone all in.
Yeah.
On this character. He really has. He's done his homework. He brings it to the table. I mean, that was one of the things I really liked about this movie as well. Tom Hardy really gave it. He wasn't, how some actors are like, I'm just getting a paycheck. Like Nicolas Cage.
Phone it in.
I'm here to get a paycheck. No, he's dedicated to the role. I agree.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. Number one, I'm a Venom fan. Number two, I like Tom Hardy. I think he's perfect. Number three, okay, this is kind of a shocker for some people, for me. Woody Harrelson was amazing. I loved Woody Harrelson. Freaking awesome. He was the perfect pick for Carnage. Perfect.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't sound like you're on board with that.
Okay, so we'll get into that.
Okay,
we'll get into that. Okay,
all right.
He did do a good job. Don't get me wrong. He did a great job.
And I gotta say, I've went through my years of I hated Woody Harrelson. I will be totally honest with you. I've told it before. I've told the story before. My daughter is a big Hunger Games fan. We went to see the original Hunger Games movie. I had no idea that Woody Harrelson was in it, and I literally spoke up in the middle of the theater and went, "You tricked me into seeing a Woody Harrelson film."
Right.
Because at that time, I didn't like him.
Right.
He has since won me over, I have to say. I really enjoyed him in Solo. I thought he was fantastic in Solo. And I also have to say, he actually did a good job in Hunger Games. He played a drunken asshole, and that's pretty much, it worked. It worked. Even though I didn't like him, he did a good job. I'm not saying he didn't do a good job.
Okay. All right.
But he kind of won me over with Solo. I thought he was great in Solo. I've actually come to really like Zombieland. And he is a hoot in Zombieland. I love him in Zombieland. Yep. So, when Venom 1 ended, and we saw Woody Harrelson
as
Cletus, I was like, oh my gosh, he's perfect. That's it. That's Cletus. That is Carnage. So, and I stick with that. I think he did a fantastic job. So those are the main reasons I really, really love this film. And it was just hilarious. It was funny. Very funny.
The banter back and forth between Eddie and Venom was well done. And the acting to do that was really good.
Yeah, and we have to talk about that. About that.
Yep. Okay, well, I will give it 4 out of 5 symbiotes. It was a good, enjoyable movie. It really was. There are some aspects that I take away. I agree with you on almost everything you stated. Venom's a great character. The interaction between Eddie Brock and Venom was really good in the movie. The reason I can't go full tilt on Woody Harrelson is because there was some overacting a little bit on that.
Well, that's Woody Harrelson.
That's Woody Harrelson. Because. And then Shriek, she overacted her voice or parts, and I just didn't. Every time I enjoyed her character and who her character was, but when she was just a little over the top for me. Right. In her parts, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. Now, are you the girl that was in Pirates of the Caribbean? Kind of a thing.
Oh, is that who that was?
I don't know, but it reminds me of her. I'm like, okay. Sounds like the same character. The way she was voicing it.
Funny.
So
funny.
I'll look it up here in a second. So,
and I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot about the Shriek character in the comic books. I know Shriek was in there. I didn't remember her. But again, I've been kind of out of the Venom comics for quite some time. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know there was a love story like that, but I was like, I'll roll with it. No big deal. Whatever. You got to get the characters in there and that.
I knew there was a love story. That I did know. I didn't remember a whole lot about it.
I did like the background story that they created. I was like, I like that. I do. I like that. And here's the other thing I liked about it that I know some people disagree with. I like that it was fast paced. People are like, oh, it's only 90 minutes, but it was a great 90 minutes.
Oh yeah. 90 minutes was up before I knew it.
Yeah.
And
it was boom.
I like for a movie to go like that.
Yeah. I don't need 2.5 hour bloated film.
Nope.
Kind of a thing. And besides, I got to get up and pee sometimes. You know, those drinks at the theaters are too big.
Yeah, you can't complain about there being too much story in this one.
Right. I can't, because it was fast paced. It jumped. Now, do I think that they cut out some parts because they made reference to some things? And I was like, I think we missed something there. You know,
we'll have to get into that too, because I'm not sure where you're
that. Yeah, near the end, there was a dialogue between the good guy and the bad guy, and between Venom and really between Eddie and Cletus. And there were some things stated. I was like, I think we missed something there. So that was.
I think maybe I remember what you're talking about. Maybe
we'll get into that. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody at this point. But,
no, that's fine. That's fine.
And so I overall, I thought it was a good movie. It's an enjoyable film. Now, here's the other thing. Should you go to the theater and see it? You know, in my opinion, yes, you should.
Yes.
I'm willing to put that on. Yeah, you don't need to wait for cable. You don't need to wait for it to go to HBO or you know, or one of the other, you know, Vudu or whatever the other services. It's worth seeing in the theater.
I look at this a lot like Godzilla versus King Kong. Venom and Carnage are larger than life monsters, and let's face it, that's what they are. They're monsters. That's all they are. In fact, they are even referred to as monsters in the film. They're larger than life monsters, and to get the full experience, I think it's best to see it on the big screen. And I gotta admit, I didn't watch the first Venom on big screen. In fact, I held off on Venom for a long, long time. I didn't watch it till it was, I think, out of the theaters actually. And
we both did.
Yeah, and then
for me, I heard so many different things about it. I was like, I can wait.
And I regretted it afterwards too, because I stand by. I don't care what some of our listeners say, because I know they disagree with me. I think it's one of the best Marvel movies out there. I really, really do. And honestly, I think this one might have topped the other one. So,
okay, so you say Venom 2 is better than Venom 1?
I think Venom 2 is better.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But partially that's because it's got Carnage, and I like Carnage. I like the whole story between the two. You know.
Okay.
I really get into that. So, Venom was setting the character up. The first movie was setting the character up, and you needed
setting up the world.
Right.
Yeah.
It was world building, and now we got that, and now we're getting into the real stuff. And in fact, there was some hints to other things to come in the future, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Well, hey everybody, there you got our quick overview of the Venom movie. So now, from here on out, we're going to talk spoilers. We're going to walk through the film a little bit, talk about what we liked and disliked and insights and that kind of a thing. So if you do not want to hear that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you don't want to hear any of that, stop the podcast now, then come back to it after you see it.
Watch the movie and then come back and see it.
Right.
Now, with that said, I want to say right now that Rotten Tomatoes sucks.
Now, wait a minute. Now, let's be open to everybody real quick.
Hey, I am being open. Rotten Tomatoes sucks. Period.
No. I just mean time frame wise. So if you're listening to this is a week after we've seen it. We rushed to go see it so we can make a podcast for it and get it out to everybody after a week. So this is the first week. So a lot of people should have already had a chance to see it. But what Mike is referencing right now is Rotten Tomatoes as of the weekend that Venom is coming out.
Yes.
Now continue.
The last
backstory for everybody on that.
The last I checked, Rotten Tomatoes was giving it on the critics side a 58%. On the audience side, however, it's getting an 84%.
See, okay? 4 out of 5 symbiotes.
Exactly. Well, for
with everybody.
I'm going out and I'm saying that the critics do not get this character. They don't understand Venom, and they shouldn't even be watching this film. They're as far as a comic book audience goes, they're idiots and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I am being firm on that. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing a lot of people have been saying about critics versus audience scores. And you see that quite a bit on Rotten Tomatoes, the difference between the two. Now, to speak of, critics, they just watch movies and write articles about them and stuff. And so they watch a whole lot more movies than we do. And they're probably trying to compare, let's compare this comic book movie to other Marvel movies or that style. But I'm telling you, Venom is a different style of a comic book movie than like the Avengers or the Avengers realm.
Oh yeah.
And I like it because of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the Avengers. I love those Marvel movies, some more than others.
Agreed.
But Venom is its own style of a comic book movie. And I agree with you. They're trying to compare it to those. And I was like, I think you're trying to say clementines versus navel oranges here.
Exactly. They have no clue of what they're talking about. They have no concept of the character of Venom. Venom is actually partially a horror character, honestly. Fits in really well for the month of October.
Yes. Now I got to ask you this. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but do you think, well, I know I wish for this, a rated R version. This movie, it's almost like it was meant to be rated R, and they trimmed it and cut it in parts so that it wouldn't be.
Okay.
Over and over again, in a lot of the fights, I'm thinking, holy cow, this should be rated R. Now, they don't show anything. It's like they cut away on stuff before you could.
As a Venom fan and as a fan of the original Maximum Carnage series, which you even said yourself you couldn't get through the original Carnage series, I think they did the story good on this. I mean, as much as I can remember of it, it's been a long time. I actually almost considered going to Fantasy and seeing if they had the trade paperback and picking it up and reading it again. But
I got half or 2/3 of that series.
Well, if I get it, I want the whole series. I don't want just half of it. that's kind of silly. But no, I think they did it well, even though it was not a rated R film. I thought you saw just enough of the graphic violence to get the idea across that Carnage is nothing to mess with. He is pure evil, and Venom, well, he is the lethal protector.
Right.
So
yeah.
Who is no sissy himself, that's for sure. Right. He's quite gruesome in his own right. So right. I think they did it well without having to be a rated R film. I think it was fine. I had no problem with the rating of it.
I just wonder if there's going to be a director's cut that adds it, that makes it rated R, because I mean, there was some stuff in there. It's like, good, but to go full circle though, you're right.
So you're wanting to see him eat more heads.
Character.
You're wanting to see him eat more heads off of people then.
Not necessarily. It was just they cut away so many times. There were so many times things were happening, and you saw something about to happen, and then it cut away. And I'm like, oh, they're making it PG-13. PG-13 sells more tickets. It really does.
But a lot of times that's good horror, though.
When you don't see it.
Well, when you don't, when it's developed enough in your mind that you don't have to see it.
Okay, I'll give you that.
That makes for a good horror element, actually. So that's why I say this has a horror. It's not a horror film, but it has a horror aspect to it.
Okay. All right, okay. I'll give you that. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not flat out calling it a horror film. It is not Halloween.
Right, not Halloween.
Which comes out in 2 weeks, and I cannot wait.
Right?
Well,
right?
2 weeks from the time we're recording this. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, so it'll be out next weekend. Yeah. When this comes out, I'll be checking out James Bond.
Oh,
Wait,
gosh.
that sounded funny. That sounded weird.
You should be checking out James Bond, huh? Well, from what I understand, there's going to be a female 007, so.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how they do that.
Are you really?
Actually. Yeah, I am.
You know what? As a Bond, as you being a Bond fan and me not having any interest whatsoever in Bond, I kind of would like your take on that to see
I'll watch it and I'll let you know.
All right.
I don't want to get into Bond stuff right here, but we will do it. So I'll let you know. So yeah. There's a whole thematic thing for me about the whole Bond story. Well, let me rephrase that. The whole Daniel Craig version of Bond and of his story. So, but we'll get into that.
Sure.
So, anyway, so Venom, yes, it's horror-esque. He is that kind of character. Yes, that is a different style of comic book movies. In general, I think it runs in the same vein as those who may have seen, like on Amazon, The Boys, that kind of realm, that a little more grittier kind of heroes kind of a thing. And I think I agree with you because of that. That's why critics don't get it.
Yeah. So I was just upset when I saw them running down the Venom film. And I'm like, you're just running down a film that you don't understand. That's all there is to it, period.
Oh.
You don't get it,
Yeah.
I'm not a Bond fan, but I'm not running Bond down because I don't know anything about Bond,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but you're a critic. You're supposed to know about all this stuff. You're supposed to understand it, and they don't get it. They need to pick up a comic book, but I'm sure they're too sophisticated with their pinkies up in the air to read a
I don't think
Venom
that's
comic book. I do. I honestly do.
No, I think it's they poo-poo on it because
they think they're better.
That sells more.
Well,
that's what it is. I mean, come on.
Well, you know what?
Okay, here we go, everybody.
The proof will come out in the sales. That's what'll tell the true story. The sales, if this,
in this instance, as far as the film itself, yes, the sales, the people, because the first Venom movie made $800 million.
Yeah.
And so that's why they made another one.
Exactly.
No. Yeah. And I agree with you. So it was really good. It's a good film. It's good to go see it.
And I'm pretty sure this is going to, I know it's going forward. So. Well, we know by the end of this it's going forward. So,
oh yeah, okay. So we'll just talk about it. We're talking about it now because I need your help in understanding the end.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
there is something I want to critique this movie on. There's something that I did not like when this movie started. I was like, oh man, come on, I don't want to not like this movie. I will be totally honest. We got the scene with the young Shriek and the young Cletus Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
I hated the young versions of them because it wasn't just a de-aged Woody Harrelson, and forgive me, I do not know the actress's name that plays Shriek.
Shriek,
but
okay.
It wasn't like a de-aged version of those two. It was like other actors using their current voices, and I hated it. It looked terrible. The voices did not match the bodies, and it just irked me. I was like, oh, I don't like this. And I'm like, well, luckily I know this is only going to last for a few minutes and we will get into their actual characters and I'll be good. And I was. But that first moment, it was a cringe moment. I hated it. So,
I didn't realize it until this one point where I was like, oh, that's Woody Harrelson's voice. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. So I'll agree with you on that. I got you on that. I don't think it got me as bad as, it didn't take, I hate the phrase take me out of the movie and stuff, but it was quirky. Now I did love the storytelling of that. I love the storytelling.
The story's fine. I had no problem with the story. I love the story between Shriek and Cletus. I thought it was a great story. That I enjoyed. Like you said, it did kind of take me out of the film, and it irked me. And I throw that out there for anyone who's like, oh yeah, he's just a Venom fanboy. So no, I'm giving this real critique here. That is a portion of the film I didn't like and I cringed at. So
right.
But from then out, yeah, it was nothing but clear sailing after that. I said, all right, let's let this roller coaster begin. This is going to be great.
Well, see, I thought her voice was great in the beginning, the first part of the film, for Shriek.
Okay.
And then when she was in jail, I thought, okay, I got that. But all of a sudden it got weird after that. Once she got out of jail, I was like, did she slip into the Pirates of the Caribbean character or what? Kind of a thing.
See, I didn't have a problem with it because they were, in my opinion, they're acting up the whole fact that when she shrieks, that damages the symbiotes,
Right.
In fact, I loved it when Carnage goes, "You shut her up, or I'm eating her face off."
That's right.
Because that just went to show you that Carnage and Cletus are actually not on the same page. Where
I really, really like that in this movie.
Where Eddie and Venom are. They are completely, symbiotic of each other. Yeah, perfect. Go back to Star Wars Episode 1, symbiotic relationship between the Gungans and the Naboo's.
Right.
But yeah, there was a perfect symbiotic relationship between Eddie and Venom, and there wasn't between Cletus and Carnage. And
right.
It just emphasizes it.
Yeah, I liked it because Cletus has what he wanted, but then Carnage was like, whatever. I figured because they weren't symbiotic that after a while, Cletus wasn't going to be.
Yeah.
Now that's not really the comics though, because the comics he stays with him for a long time. It doesn't like he uses.
Well, he has to bond with him, and they have to find a body they can bond with, because you see that throughout this film with Venom when Venom gets ticked and he leaves Eddie. And he's going through bodies. They can't withstand him, but Eddie can, And Cletus is the same way. He can withstand. It's something about their character and who they are, But the symbiotic relationship was not the same between Cletus and Carnage as it was for Venom and Eddie.
Yeah. I like that at the very end when he thought, all is lost. And then they realized they're not in simpatico. They are not synced up together. And I was like, and you saw the frustration with Cletus with Carnage on the aspect of, dude, you just hit my wife, kind of a thing.
Right.
And I was like, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Right.
So.
Where Venom is more protective of Anne.
Right.
Which I absolutely love. Yeah, we like her.
Right.
Nobody likes you, Dan.
Right.
I love that. That was hilarious. Venom absolutely hates Dan, and he isn't gonna let up on it.
And Dan's okay. And by the end,
we still could have done it without him.
Right. Right.
Now, that's something else we should talk about.
What's that?
The voices. So the voices of Venom and the voices of Carnage. Venom is voiced by Tom Hardy. Carnage is voiced by Woody Harrelson. And what I was learning on the little video with Andy Serkis. Right. On that video, Andy Serkis was talking about how they actually went and pre-recorded all of their Venom and Carnage parts. And then the cool thing is, when Eddie is acting, he's got an earpiece in his ear, and they're playing back Venom's lines in his ear. So he's actually hearing Venom in his head, just like you see in the movie. And I think that adds to his acting. I think it enhanced it. I think it was a great choice. Really good job at what they did with producing this film. Excellent job. And I was blown away by it. I was like, that is cool. That is really cool stuff there.
Yeah, that made some good interactions. Huh.
Neat behind the scenes right there.
Yeah. Right on Andy Serkis for making that decision.
Yeah.
Huh. He's
pretty awesome, I got to say.
Yeah. So, I was just thinking, let's go back to Woody Harrelson's part. Woody Harrelson did a fabulous job. He did do a really good job. As I said before, I think there were some parts where he overacted just a wee bit, kind of thing. But here's what I will say. I am so glad they cut his hair from the end of Venom 1.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah, Venom 1, when we saw that. And granted, they were going for the comic book look. I think they were trying to please comic book fans. Me, as a comic book fan and a fan of Maximum Carnage, went, no, take that hair away. That hair's terrible.
That's bad.
Don't do that. And they got rid of it quick.
Sure did. They heard from everybody.
Yeah, they heard from the fans, and they went, yeah, lose that stupid wig. It's dumb.
Yep.
It was terrible. So... I thought Woody looked great. I thought he looked like Cletus from the comic books.
He did. He actually did a good job.
His choice in cars are phenomenal, by the way.
Mustang.
That beautiful red was 69 Mustang. Oh my gosh, that was gorgeous. Gorgeous car.
Must have it. Yep. So here's what I wanted to say about the ending portion is when there was the thing between Cletus, the conversation between Cletus and Eddie was this whole thing was, hey, I just want to be your friend. And I was like, okay, but he referenced, hey, you were supposed to tell them the story about XYZ. It's like when I shared that with you, I'm like, he didn't share that with us. We didn't see that in the movie. We didn't see that in the beginning where we got to see it as part of the thing, but we never saw where he relayed that information about his family to except in that note. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
That note was after the fact. How shall I say? That note was after the fact of him already meeting with him and finding the bodies and blah, 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 blah.
So wait a minute. You're trying to say that Cletus, not Carnage.
Cletus.
That Cletus has some kind of backstory with Eddie.
There was the way he referenced it in the discussion, like, hey, I just wanted to be your friend. And some of the stuff he said in that refers back to, I think, a section or a portion of the film that we didn't get, of where he had told him his story. Now, the way they played it in the film was, remember Venom did the whole drawing and all that,
which was awesome.
Really cool, which is great, which is really good. But the whole thing, where he told him, hey, I'll give you everything. Well, we never saw that where he gave him everything, but it made it seem like that what he referenced was what he referenced and what he was supposed to also tell within writing the story was XYZ, but we never saw this. And I just wanted to be your friend. I'm like, what?
I didn't take it that way. I took Cletus saying, I just wanted to be your friend was just trying to charm Eddie in a way. You know how some
distract him.
What?
You mean like charm him to distract him, kind of a thing? To
distract him. They say that some serial killers, like they would be the least person you would ever think would do this. I mean, that's what you always hear. Just about every single story of any real life serial killer.
I'm glad you didn't see the under part of my house, the basement part of my house while you were here.
Well, you would be the least person I would suspect. So anyway, And I'd probably be I'd probably be public enemy number 1. They're coming after me, but they should be looking for you. Anyway.
Right, I'll quote it on this podcast. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, maybe we better watch it. Who knows who's listening, right? Just kidding. It's just
I always said I'd carry the shovel for you. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Just a joke in case the FBI is listening. No.
Right.
Anyway.
All right. So anyway, needless to say, he was trying to charm him. And a lot of things that people say about serial killers is that they're very charming, least likely.
Right. And he even makes comments of, take this back to my fans, and as creepy as that is, yeah, serial killers do have fans, actually.
So weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's weird and it's creepy, but it's true. They do have fans. So, yeah, I just looked at it. He was trying to charm Eddie, which wasn't working because Eddie's like, I don't want nothing to do with you, dude.
Right.
You are messed up.
Right.
Even for a guy with an alien attached to him, you are freaking messed up, dude.
Right.
With an alien who likes to bite people's heads off, by the way. Right.
Which that was great. There's their one F-bomb that they're able to use in a PG-13 film.
Oh, I don't remember. When was that?
That was right when he bit his head off. When Venom bit Cletus' head off.
When he bit Cletus' head off. I missed that. I completely missed it.
And something, yeah.
It must have been in the sound mixed, and I just didn't.
It was. It was in the sound mix kind of a thing. So
that's something else I got to say. The sounds in this. The sounds in the. Oh, that was something else I wanted to bring up. Andy Serkis was also talking about, and I found this hilarious. He said that that Tom Hardy would make some of the sound effects on his own, like the scene where Venom knocks him in the nose and breaks his nose and goes, let me fix it for you. I'm sorry, let me fix it for you so I can do it again. and breaks his nose again. Well, Tom Hardy's making all those sounds as he's acting it out. And I find that freaking hilarious because I think back to the days of episode 1, and you and I watched the makings of episode 1 together back in the day. And remember Ewan McGregor talking about when he got the lightsaber and he's on the set and he's making the sounds with his mouth. Vroom, 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 and they're getting mad at him, telling him, stop that. We make the sounds. We do the sounds.
Right.
Where on this set you got Tom Hardy just making the sounds all together.
Hey, speaking of which, just time out for just a second. I'm gonna just a quick squirrel. Disney Plus released under the radar Sounds of the Galaxy or Galaxy Sounds.
Yeah, I watched a couple of them.
I did. I watched like 3 of them. I watched the first one and the Light Side and the Dark Side.
Yeah.
In that order. And I was like, this is really interesting. Where it's just sound effects. You're seeing the film in 4K. It's crisp. And it's doing all those snippets of all those different movies. Yeah. Even the Mandalorian's in there. Rogue One. All these different, Han Solo, the Solo movie. And they're doing just the sound effects.
Look, if you want some really cool information on the sound effects, especially of Star Wars, and I think Star Wars is the king of sound effects, and Ben Burtt was the king of making sound effects. He was the genius behind all of the original stuff, the blasters, the lightsabers, and some of the animal sounds that we got in Star Wars. He is the genius behind all of that. There's some great documentaries out there with Ben Burtt. Look them up because he is just phenomenal. If you're into that kind of thing, and I love the sounds. Sounds and music make a movie. It sets the emotion. It sets the tone. A movie is not the same without sound and music. It's just not, you got to have those sound effects. And some of the sound effects, it's like, that kind of sound doesn't happen in real life, but it doesn't matter because it adds to the scene. It is it is essential.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do you know who else does their own sounds? Hans Zimmer, the guy who does a whole lot of music. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. We may lose each other. So he actually gets people to sample different sounds. Like if it's a cello, let's get a more robust sound, of a cello and stuff, and creates those for his synthesizers and actually gets cello sounds, cool. Actual cellos and stuff. But you're right about the whole aspect of sound. Anything dealing with sound, get out there and get her done, kind of a thing. And he did those Star Wars sounds. So, why did I go off on that? Because we were talking about sound effects.
Venom has some amazing sound effects in it. I just have to say it's pretty incredible. I wouldn't put it on same par with Star Wars, because again, Star Wars is the king when it comes to that. But it's pretty close. It does. They did some good work in it. Really good work.
So you telling me the part where he cracked his nose, that was him doing the sound effect?
Well, I don't think the ending of what we heard was that. No. But it's just, I thought it was hilarious because he's making the sound effects on the set while he's acting. And Ewan McGregor was trying to do that way back in the day, and they were yelling at him for it.
Yeah, stop it.
Don't do that.
That's pretty funny.
But that's also, well, I don't know. I don't know. I just think it was funny. I thought that was a funny little tidbit that Andy Serkis gave. So
yeah, that sounds good. I'll have to watch that. Now, here's the one thing I do want to say. The best scene for me in the film was spoiled in the trailers. Visual scene. The best visual scene.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
Was spoiled in the trailers.
One of the most iconic Carnage scenes in history.
And it was fabulous on the big screen. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It was fabulous on the big screen.
It was.
But that whole thing where he goes up and he's right in front of the stained glass window.
Yep.
And it just in full Carnage form.
Yep.
The film just kind of pause.
Frames it.
Frames it, and then
it's just like Zack Snyder said. When Zack Snyder when he does some of his framing, he wants them to look like the comic book images.
A panel in a comic book. Yeah,
that was perfect. It was right out of Maximum Carnage. It was perfect. I agree with you, and you're right. That was spoiled in the trailers. Yeah, I totally agree with you. They never should have showed that in the trailers.
Should not have been in the trailer.
You honestly did not need that in the trailer. No. We had enough imagery.
If we didn't have it in the trailer and then you saw it in the film, you'd have been like, yeah.
That would have been one of those moments where everyone in the theater would have been cheering. Yeah. It would have been just like the whole Batman scene in was it Justice League where you see the lightning bolt and it looks like the cover of the Dark Knight, Dark Knight Returns. I'm sorry, and I remember that, and people were like, "Yeah," it would have gotten the same reaction, like you said, had it not been spoiled in the trailer. I agree with you. Yeah, you're right. Yep. That was a flub on their part.
If you're going to watch the movie, you want to see that scene, don't watch it at home. You've already seen it in the trailer. You've got to see that scene in the film on the big screen because there is something about it. I think, like you said, like with a monster movie, seeing it up on that big screen and just the frame, boop, there it is. Yep. Like, in 12, kind of a thing. So yeah, it was tense.
Well, and wasn't it just before that when Venom realizes that it's Carnage and he's red and he goes, "Oh no, that's a red one."
Right. So help me with the lore on that, because I'm not familiar with color one. And when he said that's a red one, I'm like,
I think the red ones tend to be more evil and more vicious than the other ones. And I haven't been reading the comics in a while, but I know there's this whole lore behind the symbiotes, and they've been around since, I'm going to say it.
The way they said in the movie was just eons, billions of years.
Yeah, they've been around since before the Big Bang, And I say the Big Bang in reference to the Marvel universe. You know, I'm not trying to be heretical or anything like that. Not my beliefs, just saying that's how long the symbiotes have been around. And some of them are more evil than others. And I think the red ones, I think red signifies that. No, that's a red one.
Right.
We're out of here. We don't like them anyway.
Which was another scene that was spoiled in the trailers.
Was that in the trailers too?
There's one of the trailers I saw it was in there because it was like he bounces back up and he's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "That's a red one," you know, kind of a thing. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that should have been in the trailer.
I'll let you eat everybody, and he's like, "Okay, let's go."
I love that part, except for the guy in the robe. You can't touch him, the priest.
Right, and then Carnage eats the priest. He bites the priest off.
Well, we knew that was going to happen. Come on.
Yeah, you knew it was setting up. Well, the priest. Once they said you can't eat the priest, and I'm like, priest is dead.
He's dead. Yeah, the priest should have been going, "Why'd you say that?"
Right.
What's wrong with you?
Right.
It's just
What's
like
the other thing in horror movies that the virgins don't get killed.
No, the virgins are the first ones to get killed.
Is that how it goes?
You never want to be the last in the line. They're always the first to go. There's a lot of cliches in horror films. So
well, anyway, the priest got it. You knew it was going to happen as soon as he got it. We
all knew he was dying anyway.
He's dead. Nobody makes it with Carnage. Nobody makes it.
No one's safe. That's for sure.
I was actually, in all openness, I was waiting for the moment where Carnage was going to kill Shriek.
I was too.
I was wondering if that was going to happen.
I thought, because we had almost this. I hate to say it, but a lovers threesome, sort of in a way, kind of thing between Carnage, Cletus, and Shriek. And
there was. It was like, who is going to know? Eddie belongs to me. Or not Eddie, sorry about
Cletus.
that. Cletus belongs to me.
Right.
You know, kind of a thing. And it was interesting. I thought they played it really well that Carnage was in for himself. He didn't care about anybody.
Right.
He didn't know who Cletus cared about. Cletus was just a means to an end for him.
Cletus was a vessel.
He was a vessel. That's it.
Yeah. And Cletus was using Carnage because Cletus needed the power.
Yes, to get to Shriek.
Exactly. And to do whatever havoc he wanted to do after that point, you know.
Oh, excuse me. So I'll probably have another sneeze here. It always comes in twos. So
problem.
So I think overall it was great. Now I want to get to I really want to have a discussion with you about the end credits scene.
Well, no, okay. There was another.
You're doing this to me. You're killing me, Smalls.
What?
Go ahead.
What did I do?
Go ahead. Up here.
I don't know what I did.
I was going to bring it up earlier. You said, "No, wait a minute," and then I was like, "Well, I want to bring it." Yeah, no, wait a minute.
Well, I just thought of something. I do have one other critique of this movie.
Okay.
See, I don't want everyone to think that he just loves Venom
because he's fanboying it.
Yeah, he's just a fanboy. I mean, there are things that I didn't like. Okay, I will say there was something I was disappointed in. That scene at the beginning, I just flat out didn't like. It made me cringe. Didn't like it. This is more of just this is a disappointment. We didn't get enough of either Lady Venom or She Venom. I don't know what you call it. We didn't get enough of Anne with Venom. I wanted more because we got a bigger scene with Anne, with Venom taking over Anne in the first film. And we just barely got, and what we got was great, by the way. I loved it when, what's the Asian lady's name? I forget what her name is, who runs the shop.
And Mrs. Chen.
Mrs. Chen. We will eat Mrs. Chen. No, we won't eat Mrs. Chen. What? I love that scene, by the way. But I love it when Venom takes her over. And there's this flirting moment between her and Anne, and it's just freaking hilarious.
Very
It's
good.
so funny.
That is good to bring up. Yes.
And then Venom takes over Anne, and we just have just the moment of, so that was my other disappointment. I wanted to see more of Lady Venom, and we didn't get enough of that. So, okay. Now you can go on. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's good. That was good. That was fair. Fair enough.
And I loved all the apartment stuff. The apartment stuff was just, it was like The Odd Couple.
Right. Yes, it was, by golly. So the two parts, I want the end of the film and in the post-credit scene. The end of the film, but there was the cop, the police officer who had shot
Yes.
And then he was on his back, and all of a sudden there's monsters and his eyes change. Do you have any idea what that's about?
I do not. And I was scouring YouTube this morning. Nobody's really talking about that. And I don't understand it, because I'm like, wait a minute. Something happened there. They're setting up for a future character, and I have no clue who it is. I don't know if somehow Shriek transferred herself to him, or because his eyes were almost like Shriek, which would be weird to begin with, because Shriek wanted to kill him, because he's the one that took out her eye. He's the one that captured her, so she wanted to take him out. So I don't know. It was just odd. I don't think he was taken over by a symbiote, though. It didn't appear that way.
So the character's name is Patrick Mulligan or whatever. Let's see. Venom 2 and in comics, the comics explain what happens to Patrick Mulligan. While Carnage is defeated in the Venom sequel, it is not entirely deceased. During the final battle, Carnage left a piece of himself in Detective Patrick Mulligan.
Oh, so it is the symbiote. It's Carnage then.
The last time we see Mulligan, he's lying on the cathedral rafters with his eyes growing bright blue. In the comics, Patrick Mulligan also becomes Toxin, the third biggest symbiote in the Marvel Universe. Toxin is an offspring of Carnage, who made his first appearance in 2004 series Venom vs. Carnage.
So technically, he's Venom's grandson.
Yes. So after Carnage bursts Toxin in that series, the newborn symbiote supplants itself in Mulligan, similar to what we see in the film. However, Carnage doesn't die in the comics, and instead teams up with Venom to destroy Toxin. Okay. So Carnage teams up to destroy Toxin. Knowing how powerful Toxin could become in time, Venom and Carnage were concerned that Mulligan's position as a cop would make Toxin a hero, not a villain. He could be a significant threat to the symbiote bad guys. In the end, Venom and Carnage failed to beat Toxin, who does become a formidable hero in his own right.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. So he is going to be a symbiote, most likely then. Cool.
Yes. He'll become Toxin.
Now, see, Toxin I don't know a lot about. I know quite a bit about Carnage, and I know quite a bit about Venom. Toxin I know nothing of. I know nothing about him.
Who's the actor that played him? Because he looked familiar.
I don't know. I just liked it when Venom was going to go bite his head off.
Right?
Venom is so funny.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I laughed so hard at Venom's parts. He was so funny. His name is...
Yes, he was really good. Yep. He's been in... I don't recognize anything he's been in. So, I mean, other people may.
Right.
But, okay.
All right. So we jump into the
now we know.
end credit.
So now we know what's going to happen to Mulligan. He's probably become Toxin, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that answers that, because I wasn't seeing any videos. No one seemed to be talking about that, and I'm like, everybody's talking about the end scene, which I get. I mean, I was super excited over.
Yeah. Okay. So talk about it.
All right. So we get the end scene. Eddie's basically on the run at this point with Venom. And I think they're somewhere in Mexico to start with, because they're watching some kind of Mexican soap opera thing, which, by the way, somebody pointed out in one of the YouTube videos I was watching this morning. They pointed out that could be a foreshadowing of something to come too, because she was pregnant, and maybe that ties in with Toxin then, because they were saying that there's another one. There's something more coming. So yeah, maybe they were foreshadowing Toxin with that little. I didn't quite get it when I saw it, but I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Partially because I was just like, okay, he's in Mexico, he's watching a Mexican soap opera, so what? You know, I didn't see anything. Then we get the little exchange between him and Venom starts talking about the symbiotes of the past, and we get that just a little bit of history of the symbiotes and how they've been around for eons. You know, like you said, because if in the comic books, and I know this from watching Variant, in the latest comic books, Eddie Brock has basically become the king of all the symbiotes, and he's ruler of all the symbiotes.
Whoa!
Yeah, which makes him extremely powerful. And it's aged Eddie Brock's body tremendously because there's just so much draw on his body.
Oh, so interesting.
So I don't know. We could be heading into that direction too in the future, which could bring on actually Eddie Brock's son in the future, who ends up becoming the next Venom, or becoming Venom after Eddie Brock at that point, because there's a few Venoms in between Eddie Brock and his son too. I'm not going to get into that whole thing, but whatever. To me, Eddie Brock is Venom. Sorry. I don't care about anybody else. I know Scorpion takes over it for a while too. So anyway, we get that point, and then all of a sudden we get this little glitch, which is actually just like the glitch from Into the Spider-Verse, which I thought was kind of cool. I was like, oh wow, that's wild. And then all of a sudden he's in another hotel room, a much nicer hotel room. He has no clue where he's at, and he sees the very same news report from James Jonah Jameson breaking the news that Peter Parker is, in fact, Spider-Man. And that's when Venom's like, yes.
Yeah.
Venom is now... Yeah. What?
He says something like, that guy, or something.
Something. I don't know. But
it's now what?
But Venom is now in the MCU at this point. Venom is part of the MCU now. Venom has entered their universe.
Okay.
To me, that is freaking awesome. I can't wait. I don't know exactly where he's going to end up. There's speculation. There's people saying, well, this means he's going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't think so. I think Spider-Man No Way Home was filmed without any intentions of having Venom in it. If we get Venom, it's going to be an end credit scene. It'll be either a mid credit scene or an end credit scene, setting up the next Spider-Man.
I don't think Tom Holland's making it out. I think this is Tom
Really?
That's my opinion.
I think
have
you're crazy.
No foundation on that whatsoever. That is my really bad intuition.
I think it's bad intuition. I think you're crazy, dude.
Okay.
Tom Holland is printing money for both Sony and Marvel right now.
I'm saying.
Each of the dollar bills actually has Spider-Man's face on it. I'm telling you. Each somebody make me a dollar bill with Spider-Man's face on it. Because
I hope you're wrong. Because I do like him as Spider-Man.
I think he's been very good. I enjoy him a lot, and I want to see him versus Venom. That's another reason he ain't going nowhere. We're getting a Spider-Man Venom movie. If he's going somewhere, that means we got to get a new Spider-Man, and I don't think so. Especially with the way they set that up.
The only reason I say that is because I do think that opening up this multiverse kind of a thing can lend credit to something like that happening.
Well,
some Spider-Man's going to die because Peter Parker died. Well, the one.
Yeah, I'll tell you which one's going to die. It's going to be Tobey Maguire.
You think so?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think we're going to see the death of Tobey Maguire. That's what I think is going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen to Andrew Garfield. I have no clue what will happen to him. I am calling it. Tobey Maguire is going to die.
Okay.
He is going to die in this next Spider-Man. I'm hoping that we get at least one scene with the 3 Spider-Mans battling somebody.
It'd be cool if it was the Sinister Six.
Yeah. I want the 3 of them. But I think during that battle, I think Tobey Maguire is going to get hurt bad enough, and I think we're going to see the death of Tobey Maguire, of the Tobey Maguire Spider. That way, it rounds out his universe. It rounds out his story. And I think we'll get a good hero's death. At least I hope so.
Yeah. We should.
He's not going to die of peanut allergies. I'll tell you that.
Right.
I'm going to come back to that every time, too.
I know, right? Hero's death. Oh, my goodness. That's great. All right. Well, hey, thanks for the insight. Because I was like, what just happened here? And so that makes sense.
Now,
I like you said that.
I got to admit, when I first saw the scene, I had mixed emotions because, one, I'm excited. I love Venom. I love Spider-Man. I love Venom more than Spider-Man. And I want a Venom Spider-Man crossover. But my hesitation to the original Venom was that we didn't have the Spider-Man connection to start with, because Venom's story starts with Spider-Man originally. So I was like, well, wait a minute. I don't understand what Venom's what his incentive is here. Why is he going after Spider-Man? And one of the YouTube videos I watched this morning, they made the comment that, one, Venom could actually be... He may not think that he's seeing the Tom Holland Peter Parker. He might think that he's seeing the Peter Parker of the Venom universe. And we don't know anything about that Peter Parker. And maybe there's something about that Peter Parker and that Peter in that universe. He may not even be Spider-Man. And there just may be something that he doesn't like about Peter Parker. So that could be one thing. I was like, okay, that's an interesting take on that. Two, it could be just the fact that James Jonah Jameson announces him as the bad guy, and all Venom talks about is eating bad guys' heads. And he's looking at Spider-Man going, yeah, he could be fun to take down and eat his head. So that could be it too. That might be a little more
opponent, worthy prey.
Right, exactly. It makes him worthy prey. He's going to be fun to chase down and ultimately eat his head. So, and then somebody else even threw out, we could have a point where Venom and Spider-Man actually team up too. Which now we'd really be talking there. So there's a lot of good scenarios that could come out of that scene. I'm not 100% sure on which way of those it's going to go. But anyway, I think we get good stories out of it.
Yep. Agreed. All right, man. Whoo. Wow. Good movie. It was a good movie. It was worth watching in the theater.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
It was really good.
And it was fun. It was a fun movie. That's the other thing I really, really enjoyed. It was just fun.
Yep. Agreed. Well, hey, everybody, let us know what you thought of the movie. Tell us on our Facebook page. That's the number one spot for all our interactions and stuff, and we love to hear from you. We do have our website, twogeeksmike.com, that you can check out, which is actually the portal to everything, Two Geeks, our webpage, to our podcast, to our Facebook, to our Twitter, and to our merch page. So,
and our Ko-fi page. Don't forget our Ko-fi page.
On our Ko-fi page, yes. So, and if you like our stuff and you want to get a little bit earlier than everybody else, $2 gives you 30 days access to everything we put on there. That's behind it. You need to be a supporter kind of a thing. So you get the podcast a day early.
You also get access to our full videos. So you get to see our incredible faces,
lucky mugs, kind of a thing. Now there are some podcasts that actually we do recommend you seeing video because of the interactions that we've had. Like
Alan Flang.
Alan Fling was a good one.
Mark Anthony Austin would be a good one.
Mark Anthony Austin would be a good one to see and stuff like that. So anything, you get access to everything in the past and then for the next 30 days. So that's how that rolls. So just $2. That's it. So, but that we use that to help pay for the podcast. Really, we're not making any money. We do this because we enjoy it. But if you would like to help support us, we greatly appreciate it.
Who are you kidding? I just bought a Lamborghini with mine.
Oh, nice.
A yellow one.
Yellow one. I would have gone red. No, actually, would I have gone red? No, I don't think I would have. I probably would have gone black.
Something about the yellow, and it could be.
I would see you getting a black one and then putting the Venom eyes on the hood.
Ooh, I like that idea too. That's pretty cool. So maybe I got to get two now. Get a black one and a yellow one. You know?
Okay.
And then I got the striper colors on top of it. So
there you go. There's a third one. So please help us support Mike's Lamborghini fund. We really appreciate it. All right. Well, with that, Mike, it's all up to you to sign us out.
All right. With that said, over and out, and we are Venom. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the Force be with you.